So hello to the last recap of this season of my round 9 game. If you watched the previous recaps, you will know that we already secured the championship in our round 8 game. So this is pretty much a match that we play just for fun. Also our opponents, so they are in the second place. They also have no real chance to overtake us. So also from their perspective, this is not a game where it's about promotion or anything, but of course everybody tries to win on each board and also the teams. They are one of the stronger teams of this season. So my opponent had still around 150 rating points less than me, but especially on the first few boards, our opponents were sometimes even stronger than our players. So it's a pretty tough matchup. I will first just show you, like always, my match and analyze it a bit with you, and then I will give you in the end a quick feedback about how the team played and how the season ended. Okay, so I have the white pieces, and basically always I start out with c4. My opponent plays knight f6. I play knight f3, and then he plays e6. I play d4. He plays d5. In these situations, this is a relatively common way to play it. But normally I want to play the English opening with fianchetto, so g3, bishop g2, short castle, and so on. So this is an opening choice where I'm not that deep in the theory, so I mostly play c takes d5, e takes d5. I think this is the simplest way to play it, and then bishop g5. So here he decided to quickly attack the bishop again, h6, so I just retreated. I don't want to give up the pin. So bishop to h4. He plays c6, and in this position I decided to play e3, so to basically protect my pawn, get the bishop out, and get a quick short castle. And here he made a move, that totally makes sense, but surprised me a bit, was queen a5. So, it's a totally possible move. I don't know how threatening it is, so the computer says, okay, this gives me a bit of an advantage. Before it was even a slight advantage for the black pieces. But, now I have a bit of trouble to protect my king. Also, there are a lot of attacking options for the white pieces, and there are a lot of annoying moves. So I need to take care here a bit. So I played the b knight to d2 to stop the check. Also keep the two knights protecting each other, or make them protecting each other. Now he plays knight e4, so attacking that knight again. I think he has some ideas like playing the bishop here, putting another attacker here, putting that bishop here, and pinning that knight, and so on. So I need to be a bit careful. And here I decided to play first a3 to protect this square and prevent this bishop from pinning that knight. I thought that is the biggest threat right now. And you can also play b4 at some point to kick the queen away, so it cannot be that bad. And okay, in this position he played then the other bishop to g4, and so this is basically a pin on that knight, so it's creating a new bit annoying threat. And in this position I thought, okay, the best way to counter this pin and also a bit weaken this pin is to play bishop to e2, so then I can short castle and then my problems are basically gone. But in this situation he made again a bit of a surprising move, so he played g5. So I felt it's maybe a bit aggressive. I mean, it's probably weakening the king's pawn structure. So I mean, I felt like, okay, what does he want to do? So short castle is now a bit unsafe. Long castle is also not that ideal. I mean, I can play b4 and maybe b5 at some point and break through. So yeah, I mean, I was not that convinced by that move, but okay, so I had to play along. Bishop to g3, and here again he made a bit of a surprising move for me. He traded his knight. Computer says this is the best move, but I felt, okay, this knight on e4 is very strong, so why trade it? And I did not feel very positive about my bishop. I mean, it's a bishop on the dark squares, and I have my pawns on the dark squares. So where should my bishop go? Also, those pawns are on the dark squares and protecting a lot of squares. I did not feel like my dark square bishop is that great. So, but okay. Yeah, I have to take back. I mean, you can also play b4 intermediate move, but I just take it back. Why not? Okay, now he develops the bishop to g7. Actually, I was pretty happy about h takes g3, because now I can also activate my rook on by attacking this h6 pawn. I mean, I don't need to activate it; it's already attacking it. But I felt like, okay, when he makes a short castle, then it's just protected by that bishop anymore. Yeah, it cannot be that safe. I mean, maybe playing at some point the queen to to c2. So the queen looks at h7, and then you can take that pawn, because you cannot take back, because queen could mate on h7, something like that. Okay, so then my opponent's move. My opponent moved the bishop to g7. Then I played b4 first, just to kick out the queen, also to get a bit more space, because I felt like when he wants to short castle, I mean, I have this attack anyway. When he wants to long castle, I have the attack with b5. So maybe I played b5 anyway, because I want to attack on the queen side. But yeah, so this is anyway a good supporting move. He retreated the queen to b6. Yeah, okay, why not? And here I played, maybe not the best move, but I played the knight to e5. So basically the idea is I want to trade it, the bishop. The knight is well placed here, and if he decides to trade the bishop, I mean, this is always an option, trading this bishop for this knight, then my pawn structure is a bit strange, because I have then 5 pawns on these 3 files. It's a bit weird. But then his strong bishop, but his important defending bishop is gone. So I felt like then, I can just, run through on the king's side of the board through his position. So yeah, I felt positive about that. Not the best move according to the computer, but okay, I feel it's kind of working. So my opponent did not want to trade the bishop, so retreated to e6, and then I'm just going after the bishop again, putting my bishop on g4. Yeah, also with the idea, okay, when I trade, then the pawn needs to take back, then the queen can enter here, or the knight can go here. Yeah, a lot of options. So what he did now was developing the knight to d7. So here the issue is a bit, originally I wanted to trade with the bishop here, but now he can take with the knight on e5. So it could be something like this, and I cannot take here because then the knight escapes. So I might take here, but then he can take here, and I need to do something with the rook. So rook, I don't know, goes here, and he can take back. And I felt like, that's not that great. I have just seen that this is not really necessary, so the computer advises to just retreat the bishop somewhere. I mean, okay, let's go here. And what is the issue when you just take here? Yeah, I have two pieces for the rook, and the king's position is very unsafe. So okay, I understand it, but I felt like, okay, this does not really work. So I decided instead, okay, wait, I can take with a knight. Knight takes d7. I mean, I just showed you knight takes d7 because I played it anyway. And now the idea was, okay, when he takes with the bishop, then my bishop can also take on d7. The king has to take, and he cannot castle anymore. If he takes with the king straight away, okay, also he can take right away with the king, but then he can also not castle. So in any way, I ruined the castling, and the king has to remain somewhere here in the center position of the board. So I felt like, okay, that is a nice strategic win. He decided actually to really just take with the king here. So yeah, I felt a bit a strange decision, but okay. I mean, just trading more pieces and having the king in the center, you can argue you're closer to an endgame. So the king in the center is actually not that bad, but okay. Yeah, in this position, the computer actually advises to just also trade here with the bishop myself, but I felt like, oh no, I should keep the pieces on the board and just bring more attackers into the game. So my idea was, I play knight b3 with the idea knight c5 check, so I also win basically a tempo by that, so it cannot be that bad. Okay, so now my opponent tries to create some kind of counterplay on the king's side, because I mean, I'm still not castled. I can castle every time, but yeah, I have not done it yet, and it also will take me a bit of time, and he can move his pawns out, and yeah, I mean, the pawns are actually relatively advanced or close to coming to my pawns, so I mean, yeah, there's some option for counterplay. Okay, he plays the a rook to e5. I play an intermediate check, and now he made a move that I expected. The problem is it's actually not not the best move. So I thought in this position, okay, moving the king to the c file, or then later to b8, is not that good, because I can pretty easily move that a and b pawn forward and trade pawns here, and I have a great attack. And my opponent apparently agreed on my idea and thought, okay, I have to move the king somewhere. I cannot run here, I cannot run here. Where is the king the safest? And I felt like on d6 the king is the safest. And my opponent calculated the same, so played also king d6. Yeah, interesting that we had the same idea, but it's not really good. But I was a bit annoyed at that position, because my opponent played exactly what I expected him to play and what I thought was the best move. So, okay. So in this position, I felt like, yeah, just keeping the rook here, attacking the h6 pawn is not really working. Also, the rook is indirectly attacking my king, so I'm just castling. Yeah, and now my opponent played rook h to f8. Probably with the idea of f5 and then f4. Yeah, and I mean, it's not an immediate threat, but yeah, when you can put the pawns far enough in front of my king, h file is semi-open, so I mean he might also bring pieces then in the h-file at some point. I mean, okay, you moved the rook from the h-file to the f-file currently, but yeah, so there are a lot of potential threats here. And in this position, I had to make a complicated decision. Because okay, I was feeling I need to go for the bishop right now, and the question was how. I can take it with the knight and I can take it with the bishop, and I felt like I should take it with the knight, because in one of my, yeah, I don't know which game it was, but in one of the earlier games of the season, I had opposite colored bishops and I was able to, yeah, basically attack the king's position on the squares that I dominate. So I felt like, okay, taking with a knight should be better. But then I also thought, okay, my knight is so advanced and it's, yeah, really, yeah, it's attacking everything around the king. And this bishop is not really doing that much. So I felt like, okay, maybe exchanging the bishop is better. And then I decided to exchange the bishop, so he has to take back with the f-pawn. And yeah, so this was actually the right decision. The computer says this is the best move, but I was always a bit unhappy with that decision later on. I felt like, I made a wrong move, I should have taken with the knight, I don't know. Okay, but it was the decision that I made, and here I made the natural follow-up. I played my rook to b1. So rook to b1, first to indirectly attack the queen, to remove the rook also from this diagonal. I mean, currently there's no threat because the d4 pawn blocks the bishop, but yeah, I mean, it's safer to go out of that diagonal and go into this file. My opponent decided, okay, I don't want any trouble here, so I just removed the queen to c7, and here I went directly for the attack, b5, and my opponent played b6. So I've seen b6, but I did not think it was that dangerous. And here I felt suddenly, okay, oh, now I have a problem. If I move the knight away, he can just play c5 with the threat of c4 and creating a passed pawn. But also, when I take, it's still a passed pawn. So my fear was something like, okay, he goes here. I go back with the knight. He goes to c5. If I do nothing, he can play c4. If I trade here, he can still play c4. So it's not really helping my position. I mean, when he has now passed pawns, he has suddenly some counterplay. I mean, his king's position is still pretty bad. His king is in the center, a lot of heavy pieces on the board, but I did not feel very confident about that. So in this position, I also calculated another move, which is actually the second best move. So I thought about playing c6. I did not play it, but I thought about playing b takes c6 with the idea, okay, when he wants to win the pawn, I want to play the rook here, the queen takes, and I win that bishop. But then I felt like, okay, calculating the number of pawns, he can take here, I take here, and I mean, in the end, I have the same amount of material. That pawn is hanging and the king is in the center. So I should have gone for that, but somehow I was not confident that I see everything. I felt like, oh, I risk losing a piece, and I mean, I have in general a good position, so why should I risk that? And I was already in low time. I don't know, I had maybe 10 minutes or something, and we had still, so that was the move 22, so we had still a lot of moves going on. So I decided to play instead the safe move and retreat with the knight, exactly the way I showed you before. He played c5, like I expected, trade. I mean, d takes c5, b takes c5. Yeah, in that position, I decided to first protect my pawn, advance here a bit. I mean, maybe you can play a5, b6. I mean, yeah, I still have 2 versus 1 pawn here, so I can also create a passed pawn. Yeah, it's nothing wrong with that. Okay, now he played the rook to b8, so to blockade a bit my ideas. And now I had a different plan, so I wanted to directly attack the c-pawn. And the way I wanted to attack the c-pawn was by queen to c1, with the idea queen to a3, to go here in the diagonal and basically pin the pawn, and also force the king to stay here. Okay, now he played a bit surprising move a5, so I did not play en passant. Maybe it would have been better. Yeah, I mean, yeah, in some way I'm kind of winning a pawn, right? But he can trade here and get the second rook in, so yeah, having here this doubled a pawn does also not look that fantastic. So taking is also a good move, but queen to a3 is actually the best move in that position. Here he first moved the queen to b6, blocking this pawn that I cannot really do anything anymore, and also this enables that he can put the rooks behind the c-pawn. Yeah, in this position I originally had the idea to play something like rook c1, and he protects the pawn, then rook c2. He has to move the rook to enable the second one to come to the c file, rook here, and then I thought, okay, but this position is not going anywhere, but how can I improve this position? It's nothing can happen anymore. Kind of. I cannot improve anything. The thing is, the computer actually says this is the best way to proceed because you can play e4. Right, and the idea is basically, okay, if he takes here, his pawns are all isolated. So the idea is, okay, I have to remove the knight, and then the knight can already the knight already threatens a fork here, so you have to go somehow away, either with the king or with the queen. I mean, maybe this is the best one, yeah. But then this knight is moving forwards, then the queen has to go away somewhere. Maybe no, here. Okay, so the problem is a bit. Yeah, the queen has no good squares. Here you can fork the queen by playing b6, so then at least the rook is gone, and when you go here or here, the a pawn is gone. Yeah, and also the d file is open, so you can attack via the d file. These pawns are all very weak, hard to defend, so actually taking the a pawn is not the best move, which is a bit of funny because you get two connected passed pawns. But okay, yeah. So this is a way to improve. I mean, my opponent does not need to take here, so you can also retreat. Either retreat with the king or maybe protect this pawn this way. I mean, this is an opportunity because if e4 unprotects the d4 square, but when you trade here, I mean, yeah, then you can maybe swing over with the queen at some point and attack from this side. But black has two connected passed pawns, so yeah, it does not feel that well. Personally, from my side, the computer says that's all fantastic, very good for the white pieces. But yeah, so I could not calculate that. So what I did instead in this position was to play the rook from b to d1. So I mean, in the end, the idea is pretty similar. I want to play e4 and trade here. So in some way, yeah, I do the same, just a bit worse. Yeah, somehow that's it. Okay, my opponent put the b rook behind the c pawn. Okay, and now I played e4 anyway. My opponent played the bishop to d4. I traded once. I mean, I can just trade once. E takes d5, e takes d5. And this is basically the part of the game where my trouble began. I mean, okay, I play everything in a lot of time trouble already since a bit more than 5 moves. And in this position, I have already seen that, I mean, this pawn is pinned, so the rook kind of attacks this bishop, and the bishop is somehow unprotected, you can say. So I was thinking about where to move the knight, and the only meaningful move is the knight to f4, and this is actually the kind of winning move. You can also retreat it to e1 and play it then to f3, to the normal square for the knight. It's all working. But I felt like, okay, this does not really do anything. But okay, so just think about if he takes here with the pawn, you can just take this knight. And here an interesting thing is, or an important thing is, what I also did not see. I mean, when the pawn takes on g3, the queen can take with check, and then you have a very open king's position. And yeah, your computer already says 14 mate in 14. Okay, but yeah, I did not see that. He does not need to take here. He can also play something else. And okay, apparently some queen move like this is the best one. Just dropping that pawn. Yeah, it still feels a bit dangerous. I mean, now I'm up a pawn, and this is also pass pawn, but those two pawns look dangerous. And when I somehow need to trade a queen, I don't know. I don't know if that is good for me. I mean, if I manage to not trade the queen, yeah, everything's great, and his king is in a lot more danger than my king. But okay, objectively, it is very won, but yeah, I did not see that. And here my troubles began. I decided to play king h2. So the idea is that I can now play f4. Right. And okay, I do not want to trade here on g5, but I mean, I can push. I can push the pawn, maybe play then g4 to support it, and create my own passed pawn. I mean, I have one on this side, but then I also have one on this side. Okay, now he has the option to remove the king a bit more to safety. Plays king c7, and this has a hidden plan that I did not understand at that point, but I'll show you the next move, because yeah, he showed me that good plan. Okay, now I play f4. Before f4, the position is actually pretty equal. f4, now it's suddenly losing for me. So within 2-3 moves, no, 2 moves actually, king h2 and now f4, within these 2 moves, position changed from +2 for me to -2. So big advantage for my opponent. And here the hidden plan starts. So my opponent played queen g6. And this is a problem, because now he has a mating attack. So queen h5 is just mate, because the bishop is protecting this square. Yeah, I completely weakened my own king's position for no deeper reason. Okay, Yeah, there is just one meaningful way to defend yourself, so this is g4. So now that square is protected anymore. That square is protected again. The thing is, there is just one way to keep that attack going, and yeah, I did not really see that. My opponent also did not see that. This is queen d6, right? So queen d6 is keeping that pawn protected, attacking this pawn, pinning it to the king, and yeah, now I still have issues how to continue. But sorry, but my opponent played, instead of queen d6, g takes f4, which was also the move that I kind of expected, because I mean it wins a pawn, so why not? You can still play h5 maybe to open up files. Yeah, there are a lot of things that you can do, but the downside of that move is, and that's why queen d6 is better, now I can play knight takes c5. That pawn is hanging. And yeah, now suddenly it's again plus 3 for me. So now I'm again winning. So you see, there's a lot of back and forth in that game. So very yeah, very double-edged playing style from both of us. Very unsafe. But okay, I mean, it's an interesting game. So why not? And we're in time trouble already since 10 moves or so. It's a move 34 now. Okay, so he has to do something with the bishop, so he plays bishop to e3. Interesting in that position. The best way how to proceed is b6. So even if I was not in time trouble, I probably would not have thought about that move. But I mean, okay, so it's check, so he has to do something. And okay, he can take with the queen, or he can take with the king. I mean, taking with the king, then get another check with the rook, and I mean, there are suddenly a lot of attackers in front and around the king, so that's probably bad. So the better way to take here is with the queen, but then the rook can take the other unprotected pawn and again protect the knight here, and then I mean, there are not really that many defenders around the king anymore. Also the b file is open, so my pawn is also not blocking my own heavy pieces. There are threats like rook to d7 when the king goes to b8, rook to d7 when the king goes to b8, rook to b7 is winning the queen. I mean, if he does just making a move that it's my turn, I can play something like this, and this one. Yeah, so there are a lot of threats. But okay, I decided to play a bit of a different move. That was knight to a6 with check. Looks good because I mean it's somehow first an aggressive move. He is again in a check, so yeah, he's in check, so he needs to move the king. Yeah, the issue is the knight is now at the edge of the board, so it's not. I mean, it is active because it's right next to the king, but yeah, what does a knight do there? So that is a bit of an issue later on. Okay, my opponent has to move, so king b6, and now I take the d5 pawn. So first winning a pawn, also stopping the h5 move. So it's also a bit of a defensive move. It's also threatening rook to d6, and yeah, this is winning the queen. So a lot of threats, but okay, in this position I have a slight advantage, but not really that big. But I felt like, okay, now I have a counterattacking again. Before I felt like, oh, queen g6 felt like, now I'm about to lose maybe, I don't know. But now I felt again like, oh, now I'm winning, I have an attack, great. So my opponent, played the f rook to d8, trying to stop my rook. And here, here it's a bit funny. So there is one move that keeps the advantage, but this is super hard to see, at least for me. And this move is knight to c7. Now, I mean, so the idea is, so first the idea is when he trades with the rook on d5, I can just take back here. It's a fork, so he can move somewhere back, and I can take here. And okay, when he takes back, I think this is very catastrophic, because I can just go here. King goes somewhere, and then the rook can go either here or here. Both is terrible. I think this one is a bit more straightforward, but yeah, you see, the queen is attacked, and here you have basically a mate threat. So yeah, but I mean, it still looks a bit dangerous because that pawn is so advanced. But okay, you cannot support the pawn with the rook because queen c6 is a fork, right? So this does not work. And you can also not really advance with the pawn, because queen is just forking it, and when you're going anywhere. Okay, there are apparently also mates, but yeah. You just win the pawn, and I mean, you're up so much material, so you just win it. You don't need to find this mate in 16 or whatever it is. Okay, but in this position, of course I did not find this strange move, so I decided just to trade once. The rook takes d8, the rook takes d8. And then create a mating threat. I mean, it's never wrong. Queen to e7, so it's just mate on c7, and also the rook is attacked. So there's just one move to stop all that. Queen d6. Okay, and here is a bit the tricky situation. I mean, not trading the queen is a bit dangerous. The computer says, okay, queen to e4 is also a good move, but I felt like f3 is such a problem. I felt like I had to trade, so I traded queens on d6. He takes back with the rook, and this is an equal position. So I'm up a pawn, but I mean, yeah, this knight is very inactive. This bishop is pretty good. My pawns here are doubled on a g-file, but okay, his pawns are all isolated. And here in this drawn position, first this is move 39, so I still have to make one move for time control. And what I'm typically bad at is keeping a game a draw, because I always want to win somehow. So I'm always very optimistic that I have winning chances, right? And that's the reason why I did not play rook a1. So rook a1 is the simple move. It's protecting the a4 pawn. The a4 pawn can also be attacked by his rook. The king cannot come to the pawn. It's pretty hard. The king cannot really move. So the knight here and the pawn are protecting basically these three squares. So the king can only walk around by the c8 square. The king is pretty trapped here. So the simple move to keep it a draw is rook a1, and yeah, maybe you have to go to a2 with the rook, but yeah, there's nothing happening. You can just keep it a draw. But I felt like, no, I want to go forward, be active, and now I played g3. And g3 is basically losing the game, yeah, because it completely weakens the king's position and it allows the black pawn to become a passed pawn. It's not that straightforward right away. But I mean, I caused so many problems on my king just with this move, so it's very bad. I've seen it very quickly after I played it, but yeah, this is terrible. So, and now my opponent plays basically the right moves. Rook to d4. In that position I did not protect the a pawn. I decided that it's better to trade the g pawn on f4. Bishop takes with check, and I play king h3, and now he can take my a pawn with rook takes a4. I mean, materially it's still equal, but the position is now catastrophically bad, because this pawn is hardly protectable. This pawn is also not great. The knight is on the edge of the board, so okay, so I play rook to b1, just protecting my pawn. He plays rook a3 check. Okay, I play king h4. He plays bishop g5 check, king h5. I mean, there are not really other moves. And now he's playing the rook to d3. Yeah, idea will be clear in 1 second. So I play my rook to b2 because, I mean, I cannot really do anything. The pawns are both blockaded. The king is basically immovable. I mean, king g6 is possible, but why? Knight b8 is possible, but the knight cannot really escape. I mean, okay, knight could go to the c6 square, so maybe knight b8 would have been a better move, but also not great. Okay, so now my opponent plays rook d5. Now this pawn is attacked, and there are annoying threats with the bishop, like bishop c1 winning the rook. So I decided to go rook c2. Now I do not have any piece on a black square, so and also I protect the c7 square. I mean, I do not really protect it, because when the rook takes now on b5, the knight can go to b8, but still, wherever the knight goes, it is a dark square, so here or here, it doesn't matter. This just wins the knight. So yeah, it's pretty it doesn't really matter what he does. I mean, there is some trick when he plays king takes b5. You have still this, so then you can turn around the match. But okay, he did not see that. He played instead bishop to f4 with check, but in the end it's all the same in some way. I had to move the king to g6. Now his rook takes the pawn on b5. Now the knight is attacked, so I have to do something. I cannot really move the knight anywhere. It's just it's just a different move order, because the bishop protects those two squares and the rook protects those two squares, so the knight is kind of trapped anyway. I make still an intermediate move, rook to f1, attacking the bishop. Actually, rook to c4 would have been slightly better, attacking the rook, attacking the bishop from the side, not from the front. But in the end, it doesn't really matter that much. He plays the bishop to g5. I retreat my knight. He attacks the knight with the king on c7. The knight has to go back. He plays king to b7, and yeah, now the result is exactly the same. The knight is completely trapped. The rook cannot protect it from the side because the bishop protects it, so yeah, I lose a knight. And so this was then the position where I resigned, because, I mean, yeah, what should I do? I mean, I do not have any meaningful counterplay. I mean, what should I play? A check here? I mean, he just takes here, and what is the idea for counterplay? I mean, this pawn is blockaded by this bishop-pawn combination. He can just move the a-pawn forward. At some point, probably my rook has to sacrifice itself on the a-pawn, and then he's a rook up. I mean, no, there's not really any chance to do anything. So yeah, this is the final position. And okay, so this was the first loss of the season. Yeah, I had some other matches, or especially the second match, I should have lost. So there I somehow, I mean, my opponent gave me enough opportunities to actually win the game. So in the end, it was a draw. So this game, most of the game, I had really good winning chances, but then I messed it up. And then when I had the opportunity to keep the end game a draw, I mean, yeah, technically I was a pawn up in that end game. I just should have played a bit defensive, and I could have folded. But okay, I was too optimistic. I don't know, aggressive is probably the wrong word, but too optimistic in the end game. Wanted to be too active. And yeah, so this is one of my typical late middle game, end game things, so that I do not realize when to play for a draw and not to do any too spectacular aggressive things. But okay, so this was my result. I was also the last board playing. The team lost this match 5.5 to 2.5. So in the end, even if I would have won, we would have lost the match. So it did not really matter in some way. But okay, so that was the result. We actually lost the last game as a team. Our opponents were then still second in the league. So that was just the final standing. I will make also a short recap for the whole season, so where I just go through my overall performance, discuss if I'm happy with the season, what happened with my rating, also give a bit of an outlook to the next season. I mean, we are playing one league higher, again against a lot stronger opponents. So I mean, this year I had 7 out of 9. The year before, when we were still playing in a higher league, I think I had 3 out of 9. Maybe it was also 2.5 out of 9. I cannot really remember anymore. But yeah, you see, I had a lot of losses back in that league. I think it was just 2.5 out of 9. So you can expect next season, when I make more of the recaps, that there will be a lot more losses, not just this one, but I mean, I'm playing higher level opponents, so I hope that the games will also be a bit more classy, let's say. I mean, some of the games this year were a bit strange, because the opponents made a lot bad moves. And okay, so this game, or game 2, I also messed up a lot. So I hope next year the games will be a bit more I don't know, I don't want to say interesting, because the games were interesting. So especially this game was very interesting. But I mean, we made a lot of mistakes. So I hope next year will be a bit less error-ridden. Okay, so that's it. That's it for now for this game. So I hope you tune in also for the recap of the whole season, and also the games of the next season. So if you like, you can just subscribe to the channel, and then we will see each other in a few weeks again.